Welcome back. We are now ready to launch into the video distribution scope of work. The core of our system is the NV32H in core mode. Of course, when we think about boxes, we love to see the backside of boxes. And so here's the backside of the NV32H. As you can see, we've got the 3 HDMI in, the 2 HDMI out. We've also got the USB connections there for doing bridging. We've got GPIO in and out. We've got RS-232. We've also got unbalanced audio in and out of the system, as well as everyone's favorite LAN A, and it's got LAN B as well. And lastly, it can run on PoE or it can run on an external power supply, provided that you have the power supply with these particular specifications. Now, I said the NV32H in core mode because you actually can get it in multiple different modes. It comes in core mode. It comes in peripheral mode. You also can activate it to be in core mode with streaming feature licensing. And the way that we are making use of it today is in core mode. Take the moment, read all of the checkboxes if you want to, but basically it means that it's really fantastic. And it's one of our favorite boxes. You may recall that our video system works like this. We have 3 HDMI inputs. We have 2 HDMI outputs. Input number 1 is laptop 1. Input number 2 is laptop 2. And input number 3 is the wireless presentation system. And of course, the outputs are going to the left and right displays. What we are going to do is we're going to return to the UCI script. And on the UCI script, we are going to configure a combo box or a list box. My preference here is a list box. The reality is they actually are the same control. It's just 2 different presentations of the same control. For our purposes, I'm going to choose list box. And we're going to have 2 of them. One for controlling the video routing for the left display, and one for controlling the video routings of the right display. They're going to control the NV32H, and unlike the lighting that we left only half done, we are going to make this work in both directions. We are going to get real feedback. We are going to start by coming back to the UCI. We're going to add controls from the toolbox. So you may be asking, why are we going to go back to the UCI script? Because we've done everything else in their own individual scripts. And there's a very, very special use case that I want to revisit. In order to get the controls that we want to add controls to the displays layer. And specifically, what we want to add, if I go back to the toolbox, is I want to add, under text, we are going to add list box. In fact, we're going to add 2 list boxes. I'm going to make both of them, something like, what does 500 by 300 look like? That's pretty good. Let's hack them, something like that. And it might also be nice to apply a little bit of labeling situation going on there. So I'm going to make this say left display and make this one say right display. And because these are text boxes, remember we're probably going to want to adjust the text size. I chose large. Medium might be a better fit. We'll see. We'll play with it. That looks good, but remember we need to give these things names. We're going to call this one list out 1, and we're going to call this one list out 2. I did lowercase list and then capital O for those outs. That's just my little way of doing this. And let's talk about our NV32 over here. The way that our NV32 works is that it's got a series of buttons on it. And in fact, if I emulate, we can see what's happening here. Now that we have the televisions on, we can poke these buttons on the NV32 and we can see that we are indeed routing video exactly the way that we think that that should work. The other thing that you should recognize is that these 2 controls are also changing all by themselves. And so we could actually also route video simply by changing the string that is in this particular control. And so if we make that box, that control, say HDMI2, we get HDMI2 out there on the thing. Part of our consideration here is well, why not just drag those controls? And honestly, you could. But one of the things to think through is one, this is class, so we're going to teach you a way of doing things. But secondly, if you're going to have many choices to choose from, well, you're going to run out of button space on your UCI pretty quickly. Now, arguably, our particular project, we probably could have solved it by using the 4 buttons. But we're going to take an approach that will scale, which is, again, part of the reason why you're here and part of a really clever way of learning to code. The way the NV32 is working is that what we're doing when we choose these things is it is actually putting a new string into this particular control, and that is making the route happen. Now, we could have chosen to use the strings. We could have chosen to use the numbers. Either way is fine. We're going to take the approach of the strings. They're a little more descriptive. They're a little clearer about what they're doing. I like that. And again, you might say, well, fine, right? You just told me a minute ago that a combo box and a list box are exactly the same. So why not just pull that combo box out onto our UCI and change it to be a list box and make that happen? Well, the wrinkle is that this combo box, it comes, one, in a fixed order. Secondly, it comes with fixed labels inside of it. You can't change what those labels are. In fact, we're going to adopt a sort of naming system here. We are going to call these native labels the pretty names of the control. Part of the reason why we're going to do that is you'll see in a minute that that's actually what this control is called. It's called the select by pretty name. So we, however, are going to have clients that are not going to care to know that they are picking HDMI 1 or HDMI 2 or HDMI 3. They want to pick from laptop 1 and laptop 2 and wireless presentation system. It really doesn't matter to them which HDMI it is. That's not a very descriptive label for them, and therefore it's not very friendly from the user experience perspective. So there we are. We now have our 2 terms. We have the fact that the NV32 runs on, quote, pretty names, but our list box, the thing that we're going to have users interact with, is going to run on friendly names because it's the names that they want to see. So where we're going is we are going to figure out how to get friendly names into these list boxes. We're going to pick friendly names, and then somehow we have to get friendly names to turn into pretty names so that we can send pretty names to the NV32 to make it work. That's the trajectory that we are about to embark on.